Yo, what is up, One Piece Nation? Yes, it is finally time for the Eustess Captain Kid limited deck profile. So this is a series me and my team been doing. So this is my version of Eustess Captain Kid that we've play tested. We ran the numbers. We think this is like probably the best you can get right now by putting two starter decks together and like the promos that are available. So we'll get right into it and we'll talk about the leader. Give me one sec. I'll focus the camera up for you guys. Yeah, right there. All right. So yeah, people pre-release. But so his effect, he's gonna be one of the most playable leaders going into Romance Dawn, just because he has a built-in game-ending mechanic. So for 3 energy, you just tap it, you don't minus it. You get to trash 1 card from your hand and set this guy as active. So that means when you're at a full 10 Dawn, right, you could pump him with 7 of these, leave 3 open. Now you have a dual attack 12k swing on your lead. So just because of that, this leader is busted. He's probably the best, if not one of the best leaders coming out of this starter deck format. Then we'll go ahead and get into the deck. So as you saw, we're running 4 Gang Beige. Nothing too special to talk about. We're in a blocker format, so that means we got to run as many of these nice little 1-drop blockers as we can to survive. So we run 4. Cannot run any less. If we could run more, we probably would. And then Jewelry Bonnie, the best searcher, if not the best, one of the best. She literally, for 1 energy, you switch her to rest mode, and then you top 5 and you add any supernova, and then bottom the other 4. So this is really good because you can grab literally any card in this deck pretty much. Your 2k combos, whatever card you need to be aggro, and she doesn't shuffle. So that could either be really good or really bad, but most of the time it's really good. I've never had a bottom like, oh man, that my whole top 5 is so good, you know? So and then your Rouge, we had to up this guy because he is so nasty. So if you have 3 or more characters, this card gains plus 2,000 power. So basically, when you give him 1 Dawn, he swings on your turn for 6, and then on defense he's 5. So in these starter deck battles, he's the cheapest 5k face swing that you have in any of the starter decks. So he's a 4 of, because you can't get better cost for a cheap aggression. And then this one is our Scratchman Apu. There's really not too much to talk about. He is the 2k counter, so you run him at 4. I highly don't recommend playing him. You know, resting one of your opponent's Dawn cards might be nice, but that means you're setting it up the turn before, because he has summoning sickness. You can't use that right away. So that'd be like really guessing so far ahead. But yeah, just keep it in your hand. The reason why green is doing so good is, if you notice, all of these cards have counter power. So keep it in your hand. And then the next card we're running is the promo. You can see a little pre down there. It's the Eustess Captain Kid. He's a 3-drop 4k. I personally did not like this card, but now after playing it so much, I see why it's so good. You know, a double attack means you deal 2 damage. So if they're at 2 life, it brings them straight down to 0. But if they're at 1 life, it wouldn't win you the game. They'd take the 1 life and you'd have to swing again. But he is a 3-drop 4k, counter 1000, and he just puts in work, because in this deck you can restand him, so you could pump him up with a whole bunch of Dawn. And you could literally, if your opponent's at 4 life, you could take them down just single-handedly with this card and like a law. I've done it before. It's so nasty. Him on board is just, he's going to win you games, and people, they need to get rid of him. Even that's why I didn't like him in the beginning, because he's a 4k, but at least that saves you a swing on lead. And then next we have Killa. So he's a 3-drop 3k, counter 1000, and then he KOs a rusted character with 3 or less, and he has a trigger to play. He was so much better before. Now he used to be able to KO any 3-drop, but now he has to be in rest mode, but they gave him the trigger and the counter plus. But he's still just so good. We have to run him at 4. You never know the situations you're going to need him, so. And then the generic 4-drop 6K that every single starter deck is running. Just because most of these characters don't have summoning, or all of the characters have summoning sickness, and at least he's a 4-drop 6K, so that when you swing, it takes more for your opponent to actually get through him. So all the decks are running these 4-drop 6Ks at 4. You should too. And then X Drake, such a good card, such a good card. When I first read this card, I had no idea it was that good. But playing it in the starter decks, for how slow the starter decks are right now, this card is fantastic. So you give him a Dawn, and then when he's rested, he gives all your Supernovas and Navies plus 1,000. So just on swing, he becomes a 7K. And now all of your other Supernovas and Navies become 7Ks. Your leader also becomes 6. So literally, the first Dawn you put on him, you're already getting double value, even if it's just him and him on the field. So literally, X Drake's a mandatory 4 of. When you play this guy, everyone's going to try to get rid of him. Literally, early game, I recommend playing him before him. Like, even though I know X Drake's better, he's going to be a 5K on defense. This is a 6K on defense. So I know it's rough to play the guy with no skills over the one with skills, but you want to try and keep your hand size as high as you can early, you know? And then next we're going into Basil Hawkins. So we don't run, this guy is literally amazing, especially like I said for the format we're in. But I couldn't run him at 4 just because he has no counter power. So, and honestly at 3 I've never not seen him. You know, like I said, Bonnie searches through your whole deck. He is a supernova like all of these. So you can pretty much grab anything. And basically what he does for 1 energy or 1 Dawn, when you put it on him, he becomes a 7K swinger, and when you swing at a rested card, a rested character, he gets to switch back to active. So now he's a dual attack 7K. Insane value. If your opponent doesn't get rid of this guy, he's going to put work in all game. And again, he's a 6K, so lead can't, they have to invest to get rid of him. So nasty. And probably the reason why this deck is so good, Trafficker Law. This guy is so nasty. It doesn't matter what color you're going up against. They hate seeing this. You play your Law for 5. He comes out. He's already a 6K, which is great. Again, your opponent has to invest to get rid of it. He has 1,000 counter power, so he's not dead. Running him at 4 costs you nothing. It doesn't. No feel bads if you brick too many in hand. But on play, you get to restand a supernova. So you go ahead and restand your X Drake, swing again. Your X Drake powers up your Trafficker Law. Basil Hawkins, he can now swing 3 times. Literally, this guy is so nuts. Like, you only need an inch. I promise you. When you have these laws in hand, you only need an inch to get in. They just put in so much work. No one's ever ready for like the quadruple swing turn you have with the Law. Next, I only run 2 Eustess Captain Kid. The card is beautiful. It's really good when it's good, but it's really bad when it's bad. Like, this card isn't good against purple. It doesn't, like, it won't help you. It's like the most expensive blocker you could play against Kato. And then blue can just bounce this completely for free. Like, do not play this against blue. Like, the way this doesn't become a dead card is you pitch it off your leader against blue. But like, it's really good against red if, you know, for some reason the game gets super late. Like, this guy could, you know, help you out a lot. But yeah, just not really too effective. So even in the mirror matches, I guess. Yeah. Well, no, that mirror match is probably your best match for this guy. But anyways, we run him at 2. He's a blocker that if you give him a Dawn when you swing, he's an 8K swing, and then at the end of the turn he restands. So only 2. I really wouldn't run it up to 3. I mean, if you want, you could make room. But like I said, he is one of the only cards that doesn't have counter power too. So that's why we don't run him so heavy. And now we're on to our event cards. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4 Scapple. I absolutely love this card because especially in the limited deck formats we're in right now, where everyone only gets 4 2K counters, you get 8. Literally, you only have to leave 1 energy open. And imagine if you had all 4 of these in hand, like the game just got that long, right? You leave 1 energy open, boom, 2K counter. So I didn't even read the card. My bad. Your leader or one of your characters gets plus 2,000 power during the turn. Then set when your Dawn card is active. So they swing, counter, get out of it. They swing, counter, get out of it. Swing, counter, get out of it. Swing, counter, get out of it. Literally, these cards are amazing. If I could run more, I probably would, because this is nasty. Then we run a 2 of Repel, so it's literally the same thing as Scalpel, except it's a 4K and you still untap 1 energy. I don't like this one as much, honestly, because like you really have to plan to leave 2 energy open, which happens. You need to have a counters sometimes, but I just like Scalpel better, and I'm not going to leave 2 energy open most of the time, so just wouldn't be too useful for me. And then Straw Sword, literally amazing. I ran this card at 4 in the beginning. Like originally when it came in the starter deck it was 2, and I was like, man, 2's not enough. This card's so good. It wins you games when people literally put up 1 blocker to try and survive from your dual attack kid swing, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll be safe, right? Nah, Straw Sword, you know? But when I decided to run it at 4, I saw it way too much. It was such a dead card in hand, so I lowered it to 3. 3 seems to be the trick. I see like 1 at least a game, sometimes 2. They're not dead in hand. The trigger is kind of useless. I mean, maybe you play a Bonnie or whatever, or like a Gang Beige, but yeah, I wouldn't activate the trigger. But that's our Eustess Captain Kid deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Try it out at your locals. It's nasty, I'm telling you. And this leader's only getting better with the green support coming up. If you haven't seen, look at our green tier list. First impressions, it's green's gonna be nasty if you don't know. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Try this out at your locals. Let us know in the comments down below what you think we could tweak, do better. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. Peace.